Hello, everybody out there in YouTube and Facebook land. But this message that, first of all, this wasn't the first message I was going to preach on. But the message I have to preach on ties into this, though, still. The message that I was going to preach on was called, it was going to be titled, Are We Really in the End Times? Is this the end times? And I was like, well, I looked, I searched it up, looked it up, whatever, and I found some good stuff, whatever. And then some things changed, and then God says, no, it's time I want you to do something else. It's similar but different. And it all leads to about the end time still. But the title of this message is, The Time is Short. I mean, we can sit here and think that we have a long time. I'm 50 years old, and I think, well, I still got another 10, 20 years, maybe, but you never know. And I know people in my lifetime who thought they had a long time to live, but their time was wrong short. And and even though we do seem to be able to live up as old as Charlie, if we can live that long, well, praise God. But then we're also maybe still not going to reach that. We may not die in this body, but we still may not reach that age because of the rapture to come, that Jesus Christ will come. So we never know the time and hour we have. The first scripture that I'm going to use, and I'm going to ask some several scriptures, is the first one is 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 29, and I will read the first section of it. Now, if anyone knows this book and chapter, goes, why is he going to talk about unmarried widows? I'm not talking about the unmarried widows. When the scripture came up, I'm like, hey, this ain't, but then you just got to read it. I know it says don't just take one section and use it for whatever, use it the whole proportion, but I think Paul here was telling the unmarried widows that time is short. Be careful what you do. Be careful how you live life. If you're willing to stay unmarried, but love me, love the Lord. That's what Paul said, love the Lord, but live it to the fullest. But in 1 Corinthians 29, verse 7, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 29 says, and I might read a little bit further than 29, I might read a little further to 31. 29 to 31 says, But this I say, brethren, the time is short. So that from now on, even those who have wives should be as though they had none. Those who weep as though they did not weep. Those who rejoice as though they did not rejoice. Those who buy as though they did not possess. And those who use this world as not misusing it. For the form of this world is passing away. He's telling the widows, the unmarried, time is short. That's the main part of the scripture, is that, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. There's three things here that, first of all, before we go any further, I'm not taking full credit on this sermon. Because when I did find this sermon, I prayed that God would help me. But I think He allowed me to this sermon because it's something that He believed that I would always come up with anyway, maybe, I hope, I don't know. But I've been working, and not trying to give myself an excuse, but I've worked, some late hours this week, and get home tired, but I did what I could to study over it, and this actually is contributed by a man named John Gaston, and he has given a sermon back in January 29, 2015. So it's a pretty old sermon. So some of the statistics in this sermon are some old statistics, but probably still kind of hold true, maybe even greater than some of the statistics. But he came up with three things that Paul was trying to say that time is short, that he was trying to warn us. First one is our life is short. The second one is our opportunities are short. And the third one is the time until Christ's coming will be short. And are we living like our time is short? Hopefully as this sermon is over with, however long it takes, it won't take too long. Again, like I said, Charlie and Pay that day, if you see them get up and go on, move on, because they just want to get to the various funeral time. And they're more welcome to do that. They're not offend me or nothing like that. Now, if they get up and not look at the time, I ain't gonna watch no more. So y'all don't know what. I better kind of like, hey, make these time on, getting late, I'm hungry. So, but if it seems like it's been a short time when they get up and go, it's like, dang. Anyway, but today though, I hope we do this all over that we can learn that we can live like our time is short, because it is. To some of us, as old some of us are, especially Charlie, you think they don't have much time left. I hope you have as much time as I have. I hope y'all can live going. No one really in here, because y'all my family. Y'all are my family, but that is one of the things also going to be said in the message, that death is certain. Death is certain. So, if things don't tarry anytime soon, then we will have to experience one of y'all passing on. Hopefully, we will be sad, we'll be sorrow, but we'll have hopefully a time of celebration, because we know where y'all going to be at. I pray that everyone here, for us, if y'all haven't already accepted Jesus, Lord, so hopefully today you do that. But hopefully, through this message, we can learn to know that we need to live each day like this could be our last. Or this might be the last time we see you. I may not make it home this day. You never know. There could be some crazy guy out there driving crazy and hits me. So you never know these things. We never know what's going to happen. Well, there's a story here about a company, oil company, Texaco. They had drillers who were drilling in the Lake Peniel in Louisiana. And they was drilling for oil, and this is back in November 20th, 1980. And only after a few hours as they were drilling, they had a setback, because all of a sudden, as they felt like they hit something, they think, okay, it's time to, maybe we'll just have oil popping up. They're suspecting oil. But to their surprise, all they saw was a whirlpool storm taking effect. It is all of a sudden, right in the middle of the lake, in a whirlpool. And after a few hours, and as they continued watching, there was like, all the water was like 1,300 foot level of the salt mine. Is what they ended up hitting. Or what they believe that they ain't still for certain because they lost a lot of stuff in the incident. But they think they hit the salt mine and drilled a hole in it, or the salt mine wasn't sturdy enough because it happened to be under the lake now. And this valley gave way. They can't say either or, but it's happened. And it sucked down about 5 houses, 9 barges, 8 tugboats, 2 oil rigs, and a mobile home. Most of the Potomac Garden and 10% of a nearby Jefferson Island, leaving a half-mile wide crater. So much water drained into the salt mines that the flow of the Del Cambre Canal that usually empties the lake waters into the Vermilion Bay was reversed. Because all the water is drained out, into the salt mines, causing it being like a dry lake bed. And as it reversed, it's causing the salt water from the Gulf of Mexico to flow into what was now, like I said, left a dry lake bed. The Bacchus flow, though, also created for a few days one of the tallest waterfalls ever in the state of Louisiana, until the lake was refilled by the salt water. So instead of being a regular, pure water or anything, it's now a salt lake. And so there was a fisherman who happened to be out there. And he was as they was trying to everybody's been there was a fisherman who was on the lake in his boat when it was happening, escaped the water before it could have suck him down. And he said, and the local fisherman said that he thought the world was coming to an end. He thought it was over. He didn't know what was going on. He was just out there trying to enjoy life. Thinking hit him, and all of a sudden, things started flowing. And he thought, oh, what's happening here? He had no idea. So he hurried up and made his boat, got a boat going as fast as he could to get off the line. He thought the end was near. But that wasn't the end of the world, obviously. They were still all here. But the end will come to each one of us. So we must make the most of our time and be ready. So in Romans, let's go to Romans chapter 13. Romans 13. And we'll read verses 11 through 14. Romans 13, 11 through 14 says, "And do this, knowing that now is the high time to awake out of sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Therefore let us cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk properly as in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness, not in lewdness and lust, not in strife and envy, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lust." We need to take our time and wake up. It's time to wake up. I mean, even Brother McCurdy has preached a message similar to this about how it's time to wake up. He thought that he was going to live here on earth and see the rapture. And the thing is, he's in heaven now, but he still didn't see the rapture because he's going to be one of the horsemen riding in behind Jesus, call us all home, bring us up. And again, he ain't wait for that day to come. But we got to live each day like it could be it. Because you never know. So it's time to wake up, time to put away all the things in the world and put on the armor of God and seek after Him. 1 Peter 4:7 says, "But the end of all things is at hand. Therefore be serious and watchful in your prayers." We got to be ready. Always be looking up, knowing that it could be the day that even Jesus comes. This could be the day. And be grateful. Always seeking His forgiveness, seeking His love, seeking His everything He has for us, and worship Him, praise Him, and serve Him in every capacity we have. Revelation 10:6 speaks of a time when there should be time no longer. But what a day that will be, though, when the clocks have to all of a sudden stop, like Big Ben in London, and all others will stop their movement after centuries. Time shall be at the end someday, and it will never begin again. There will be time when things begin. There will be no time to see, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know all this, and I just know it's going to happen. And we got to be prepared for it, ready. There was this advertising firm of J. Walter Thomas of Chicago. He used a shock ad to gain attention. Proclaiming in large type, he wrote in large type letters, "You have 24 hours to live." And under that, he wrote small type letters saying, "Today is that day." What if, though, we had only 24 hours to live? How if we all just knew that today, from here on to tomorrow this time is all we had left? Well, every hour would probably precious to us. We'd probably spend it more or less than it'd be more worth it than gold. We believe gold, silver, diamonds, all worthy, to have. But if we knew we only had 24 hours, that time that we have left, was each hour would be worth a lot more than that gold. We have thought about that. The usage of every minute would be a ration as if we were spending money. Moses prayed, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. That's Psalms 90, verse 12. We need to sit there and number, hey, we're not getting any younger. Even though we may not see the rapture in our time, in our lifetime, but this body again will eventually cease from living. And we're not, so we got to spend each day like it's our last. And in the light of the big picture, though, the Apostle Paul penned the words in 1 Corinthians 7:29 that time is short. He says that, but this I say, brethren, time is short. So what does Paul mean when he states those insightful prophetic words, time is short? Well, here's those three things I first told you about. First one is the time of our life is short. So we all think that we can be immortal. Well, subconsciously we might think that. Some of us probably, I don't think I'm immortal. But as you're younger, though, in younger age, like the kids back there, they're not thinking about death. They probably don't know, that anything can happen to me anytime soon. They might believe right now that, hey, I got a long ways to go. I'm going to live as old as Paul Dad, as my name is called, Paul Dad. I'm going to live as old as him. They don't know that for sure. But they're not thinking that. They think, so subconsciously, they think that they're more or less immortal. But as we do get older, time does change. We seem to see the different things in life. It's a curious trait, though, that we think of other people as getting old, but don't think of ourselves as ever dying. Y'all heard of Mike Dickey, Chuck Berger's coach? Well, he was the ultimate tough guy with a volcanic anger until he had a massive heart attack. His response to that heart attack was shock. His body had failed him. He said, up to that time, I thought I was immortal. As everyone knows, that Mike Dickey, when he got mad. I mean, he really, his face turned red. He'd be sitting there yelling at his teammates and telling what they did wrong, whatever, or however they could have done, But it led to a point of the stress in his life that caused his heart to fail. So we're not immortal. We only live life close to 70 or even so much more years. It's like a few of y'all here have reached or over 70. And thank God that you're still living. Thank God you're still here. I pray that we can still have you here for how long? I hope we can see the rapture. I hope we are the ones who will see the rapture. If not, just gotta take time and value our time, which is how we ought to do, which we need to value our time. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student to build a grade. Ask Amber how it took her an extra year to graduate, because not that she was a failure in the sense that some kids have it hard sometimes too. Not that there's a stupid reason why they fail, it's because sometimes they're slower in learning maybe. And instead of graduating with the friends they had, they got to graduate, and hopefully they may be friends. They have to graduate an extra year, so a year can make a difference in people's lives. But to realize the value of 1 month is ask a mother who gave birth to a premature baby. Well, we can probably ask someone because we know someone. Taylor and DJ. Their babies were premature. Ask them how long it's taken them. As far as I know, they haven't taken the babies home yet. And it's been about a month, I think, since they had children. They had twins. But they're getting better, praise God. So a month can mean a lot to someone. And to realize the value of 1 week, ask the editor of a newspaper. Sometimes you gotta get that Sunday morning paper out. You gotta make sure it's done. You gotta take, get all the right things, all the right, get it edited right. Make sure you get the right story in there. Get the big headline and everything. So a week can matter to something. Or to realize the value of 1 hour. Well, ask lovers who are waiting to meet. That hour to find meeting true love. To know that, hey, she's something, I think I might fall in love with her. You never know sometimes on that. But that 1 hour just is terrifying. Beats so hard, that hour that we're fixing to get married. That hour before the marriage can last almost the whole eternity. Because my heart probably beating worse than it is now, probably. Waiting to go down that, waiting to come down the aisle and see the beautiful bride walk down and say I do. That hour is a very valuable moment. You can take value in those times. And to realize the value of 1 minute, ask a person, hey, Mr. Train, and I was just there 1 more minute sooner, I could have made the train. I could have got to my destination on time. Or to realize the value of 1 second. Ask a person who just avoided an accident. I was like one of our friends, Nancy Cross, back when I was in New Hope, had my daughter in the car with her. They was going somewhere. I think it was at the church or whatever it was. And 1 more second later, if they would have pulled out later, the truck that was coming towards her probably would have never had time to stop. But who's to say though that truck could stop? That God's hand was involved and kept their lives not to be as short as some lives might seem to be. He gave them mercy and let them live longer. But that 1 second though, that they would have, if they could have just held up 1 second, or could have been a second more, things could have been different. To realize though also the value of 1 millisecond, but ask the person who won a silver medal in the Olympics, treasure every moment that you have. You got to treasure every moment. See, the person in the Olympics, I've seen races where they're running, they're pretty much neck and neck, they're running as fast as they can, and all of a sudden they want to try to pull up like this to get it across, as they go across. They had to take photo pictures of the finish to see what part of the body falls first. But if the person who came in second said, if I just had just a little second, it could have been just a fraction more, I could be the first one across. But we gotta, like I said, we can treasure every moment that we have. We can't waste it. We can't sit there and say, we're gonna just do this and do that, we got all the time in the world. No, we don't have it. Because even if we don't live, like I said before, death is certain. It's guaranteed. If Jesus don't come, it's guaranteed that we will live on this earth for the rest of our life. But there's one man who went to the doctor and was told that he only had 3 minutes to live. He said, "Doctor, is there anything you can do for me?" The doctor replied, "Well, I could boil an egg for you." But nothing is so certain as death, and nothing is uncertain as the hour of death. When it happens, it happens. And if it ever happens in your life, and you don't know Jesus, I hope that little bit of, maybe that millisecond, or the second, or minute, or an hour, or however long it takes you before you die, if you haven't asked Jesus in your heart, you need to do so then, for sure. And be genuine in that and asking Him coming in your life, because He knows your heart. Just don't wait till the last moment and says, I was waiting. To the moment down there, then I ask Him to come in my heart. I'm just going to live my life walking the way I want to. No. Because if you have that attitude, He might not give you quickly. It might happen so quickly that you don't have time to have enough breath to say, forgive me, Lord. He might allow you to just die without Him. Why would He do that? Because you played around too much. Life is nothing to play around with. Yes, it's good to have good times, joyful times, be happy, tell jokes, laugh. But we gotta learn how to be serious about our life. Don't take it for granted that we do have all the time in the world. We don't. So the chances of winning a state lottery jackpot, according to this, it says are 1 in 4 million. So you get 4 million people together, probably just one of them will win. That's the chances of the jackpot. But the chances you eventually are going to die is 1 in 1. Because it's something that's very certain it's going to happen. In Hebrews 9:27, it says, and as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this the judgment. Job says, since his days are determined, the number of his months is with you. You have appointed his limits, so that he cannot pass. That's Job 14:5. So this, and God's word tells us that there is a time that we are going to die. And at the death, we will all cross from one territory to another. But those who have established a personal relationship with Jesus will have no trouble with their visas. Making our salvation sure should be our first priority. Make sure that should be. Again, like I said, if you don't know for sure that you're saved, maybe you said, Lord, please come to my heart, and then you said the words and all that, but I don't know if I really meant it. Take time. Today's the day. There's a point here. It says, think, important outward point came from, it just says, think of stepping on a shore and finding it heaven. Think of taking hold of a hand and finding it's God's hand. Of breathing a new air and finding it celestial air. Of feeling invigorated and finding immortality. Of passing from storm and stress to perfect calm. Of waking and finding yourself home. I believe when it's on the waking and finding yourself home is that one day that you will fall asleep. His body will finally be in its complete rest. But when you wake up, you'll be in heaven. I pray today that's what everyone has. Don't have no worries, no fears. That one day you know that you'll wake up in heaven. All right, the second thing that we have that time is short on is our opportunities. We all have opportunities in life to choose different things, choose what's right, choose what's wrong. We have an opportunity to do always the right thing. But sometimes, Satan, though, he has a game plan. And his game plan is to try to take those opportunities that we have to make the wrong decisions. Here's a little story, a legend about Satan and his imps planning their strategy for attacking the world that's hearing the message of salvation. Even now, he's probably working, using his demons, his little imps, whatever he has, his fallen angels, speaking in your ear, says, don't listen to him. He's too boring. He's not making sense. Who knows, maybe I'm not making sense, I don't know. But I hope I am making sense to you. At least hopefully the Holy Spirit's speaking to you today, and it's making a lot of sense. Because there's always going to be a battle. But Satan, though, and his little demons and whatever, here's a little conversation between them. It says, one of the demons said, I got a plan, Master. When I get on the earth and take charge of people's thinking, I'll tell them there's no heaven. The devil responded, they'll never believe that. The book of the truth is full of messages about the hope of heaven through sin's forgiveness. They'll never believe that. They know that there's a future beyond the grave. Well, another angel rose from across the throne room and said, I've got a plan. I tell them there's no hell. No good, said the devil. Jesus, while on earth, talked more about hell than about heaven. They know in their hearts that their wrongs require some accountability. They know they deserve nothing better than hell. Finally, one brilliant fallen angel emerged from the back of the room and said, then I know the answer. I'll just tell them that there's no hurry. And Satan cheered and clapped his hands because he knew that suggestion would work. Paul says the time is short. It's too short for playing games, of thinking you have a long time to make the right choices or whatever choice you make. But maybe some of y'all have lived on the verge of conversion for years, but never have made the decision. Or you did make the decision, but it was actually a false claim of salvation. But don't wait. Like I said, death is certain. So don't wait because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. So, as that said, turn to Matthew 6:34. Matthew 6:34. There it is. It says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for today is its own trouble. So, we don't need to worry about what we've got to have. We don't believe, don't say, oh, we don't have plenty of time. We might have plenty of time in life, but, and don't worry about what we're going to do tomorrow. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, because it can be our last day. But we need to take time and set our hearts on today. Today is the day of salvation. And we need to take that opportunity. One of the opportunities is short on is having an opportunity to choose Christ. We need to choose Christ and choose Him now if we haven't already. Consider what value people put on time who are now in hell. There are people who are in hell. There's a story that we all know. And it's you can find it in Luke 16:24-28. It's about the rich man and Lazarus. So the rich man was in hell. He was asking Abraham, let Lazarus just dip his finger into the water so he can cool my tongue because I'm in agony of the fire. And he's also said, let's send Lazarus to go tell my brothers. I have 5 brothers. Let them tell them at least go let him do that. So that they will not also suffer the same suffer that I'm suffering now. But they won't have to come to a place of torment. I know Abraham told him that the rich man, we've already done it. If you don't listen to Moses, how are you going to listen to anybody else? How will you listen to anybody? You've got to listen. You've got to know the Word of God. You've got to have the heart to search the Word, know the Word, believe in it, and take it to heart. Because like us, the rich man had cared very little while on earth how he spent his time. He didn't pray, didn't bother going to church, and God's priorities didn't matter to him. But once he arrived in hell, all that changed. It was too late. Don't make it be, and anyone out there listening on YouTube or Facebook, don't make it thinking that you got time. Ask people that you know that have lost loved ones when they was young. They'll tell you that time can be short. There's no guarantee. Because if you don't do it now, in hell, it'll be too late. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till the last breath. Do it now. God says that He don't want, that His will is not that no one perish, but that everyone come to repentance, to come to everlasting life. What would He then give for the opportunity as you have today? What would someone give that was there in hell? What would people have that they still have today? The opportunity. What would He give for another year of grace, for another week, for another day? If He could, He'd come back and tell you how precious is one moment of saving time. If that rich man could come back and tell you how much precious it is and know to come to Christ, he would, but he can't. It's too late for him. It's time to forgive those who wronged us so we can be forgiven. It's time to love our families while we still have them. It's time to serve God in every way we can while we still can. Even today at relief, if God puts on your heart someone that you know that's not saved, just don't sit there and think about it. Oh, I wish he was saved. Maybe I'll call him. He might wouldn't answer the phone because he knows what I might say. If you start listening to that stuff, that's just the devil trying to give you a lie. If you know someone, God puts on your heart, someone you know, call them. Don't try to procrastinate, I'll just do it tomorrow. Well, he might not be around tomorrow. You may not be around tomorrow. So time is too short to even do moral, to have unforgiveness, bitterness in our lives. To let our walk be spoiled. Once we choose Christ, we need to take every opportunity to reach others for Christ. That's another thing that opportunity is time is short on. Is that we don't get the time to tell people. The knowledge that the time is short ought to fire us up with zeal for immediate action. To know that we may have very few more days left in our lives, we don't know. Should get us going. Want us to go and reach the world, especially our loved ones. Let them know. The time to influence people for Jesus is quickly passing. Are your family members saved? Are your neighbors saved? Pray with them today. Don't put it off, because time is short. Have you been accused of being too radical in witnessing, though? But it's high time we got more radical. The enemy out there, they're being radical. They're out there doing whatever they can, being destructive and causing all kinds of chaos, trying to do everything they can to trip everybody up. It's time for us to be a little more radical in our walk with Christ. Speak the word of God in boldness and strength with zeal. Don't wait any longer to obey Jesus in some ministry or even calling you might have. Begin now. Are you going to give money? Give it now. If God impresses it on your heart to do something, then do it. Like even Tony said last week, if we have an idea, run with it. Or at least share it with someone so that way they can go, can help you along with it. Don't wait. We are only on the stage of this life for a breaking moment. Now is our only chance. Time is short. Redeem the time. The devil crowd, like I said earlier, the devil crowd is working hard. Addictions, Hollywood pornography, and violence, atheistic idolatries, corruption, etc. They're working hard. There's so much going on in this world today. We better be working hard too. Alright, the third one, is that time is short, is that the coming of Jesus Christ is short. It can be short, especially for those who don't know who Christ is. Each day he is coming and it's closer than it was even 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So we might, me and Charlie Fisher talked about the kind of stuff before he left, and we talked to him and said, do we know that we're in end times? Yeah, we could be in end times. Yeah, I think we are in end times. And I thought about, what? Actually, the end times started the day Jesus died and rose again. End times started even then. And each day it's getting closer. And if you think about it, I even talks about, God says, this isn't God's word that God says that a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day to God. So let's say it's the year 2021, so it's been 2,000. Well, actually, you can think 1,000 as a day, so this is the second day. We're in the second day still. And God's going to keep doing the things that He's been doing. Like, how He created the world in 6 days. The seventh day He rested. Maybe the year 6,000, maybe 6,999. Might be the day the rapture happens. That's an idea, but we don't know. If you think that way, it could be. We don't know. And when the year 7,000 comes around, that's when we all can rest. Because that'll be the seventh day. I don't know that. We don't know time now. But the rapture of the church is going to happen. Christ's sudden, brief, unannounced coming in the air to catch away His church before the day of wrath begins. Jesus returned to heaven with His saints for the believers' judgment, the marriage supper of the Lamb. He's coming now. And He may not wait till the year 6,000. It might happen now. Have you ever seen that video where they had a preacher preaching and whatever? First of all, I got to start off with showing how the world's been going with all the violence and destruction and everything. And all of a sudden, the preacher's up here preaching, and he's telling everybody about the hour is coming close. We don't know the hour. We know it can happen anytime soon. It may happen right this. And all of a sudden, everybody was gone, except a few. There's still some people still left. So it can happen. Now, wouldn't if that happened, I was doing that. Okay, no, it didn't happen. Okay, I'm still here. All right. But the rapture is certain also. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God. And the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And thus shall always be with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. That's 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 16 through 18. And we all know that Charlie guy told us that if he's able to be, if he knew when the rapture was taking place, he'd be in the graveyard. I'm like, well, why be in the graveyard for? Well, it says that the dead rise first. And so he sees that grace truck shaking and moving, and they popping up. He said, look, grab a hold of someone's ankle, pick them all up with them, enjoy the ride. So, now, the thing is, we don't know. So we can't just, I mean, if we're going to try to do something like that, we have to be in the graveyard every day. Because it can be today. It can happen. But what will it be like when rapture happens? What will it be like? Well, for Christians, it's going to be a glorious transformation. It's going to be a glorious day that takes place in our lives. That then all of a sudden, we hear a sound like a thunder, a trumpet in the eastern sky. The eastern sky is like that way. And all of a sudden, we're gone to that's going to be awesome. And they'll be able to see Jesus face to face, finally, right there, and they hear him. And I'm praying about it, and I'm saved, so I should believe that and know I will hear those words, well done, great and faithful servant. And if you don't know if you're going to have that spoken to you when you see him face to face, then here's an altar. Don't wait till I finish to come to the altar. Because like any other service, this altar is always open. Come and get right with God. Because if you want to see that glorious day and have that great feeling, knowing that you hear the trumpet and you can almost see it go. Because I think it'd be so violent, everyone will hear something, they're like, what's going on? What is that noise? You know, and the Christian's like, oh, it's time. You're like, and all of a sudden, the person decides to finish, like, why ain't I gone? Why am I not gone? But we have to be ready. There'll be a change in our lives. You know, 1 Corinthians 15:51-2 tells us about how it's going to be a different change. You know, in our lives, our bodies will change and still become more heavenly. There'll be no more pain, tears, worries, new strength, new shape, new teeth, new everything. Everything will be a great, you know. So it'll be new. Hopefully, I found this stand up, everything finally more in shape. But we will also, when it happens, we will also be relying on our loved ones. To see those who have passed away. Miss Rose, get to see Curtis again. Amen. It's going to be a great time. Great family reunion will take place that day. Also, though, I believe what's going to happen, and it's going to blow your mind probably. Like Brother Charlie, he has a great imagination, I can have one too. I think even we will be reunited with some people who we think was even our enemies. That we saw them act a certain way, live a certain way, but not knowing that final breath, they repented. That somehow that God took that repentance to heart. Because he knows your heart. And he goes, I knew you would. Who knows? We might see Brandon Manson in heaven. We might see Adolf Hitler in heaven. Oh, no, wait, no, what he did. But do you know his life? What did he do before he died? Did he ever accept Jesus before he died? Do you know that? There's nothing written in the history books that he did. We don't know that. But would it be crazy to see someone like that in heaven? Some people might go like, you might go just like, you're here? He might turn around and say, I'm going to say the same thing. You're here too, huh? Wow. You never know these things. But we will be rewarded, though. Revelation 22:12 tells us how we're going to be rewarded. But for the non-Christians, though, it's going to be a terrible loss. A worldwide chaos. You think all the violence is going on now? With all the riots and stuff and everything's going on now? It's going to be, all hell's going to break loose. And the hell gates are going to be open wide that day too, probably. The planes, trains, and cars will probably start crashing because people who are Christians, when that rapture comes, there won't be no vehicle no more. There won't be that plane no more. Can you just imagine walking around and all of a sudden the plane starts falling from the sky, crashing. It's going to be a terrible sight for a lot of people who are left behind. So as the world seems to face different circumstances, as Christians, we feel those effects that the world faces. Right now, we feel what's going on in the world. When things seem to happen, we feel the effects of it. But as the day comes when Christians get re-raptured, then the world will feel that effect. Those who are left behind, they will feel those things that be left. There'll be world leaders be missing, millions are gone, churches full of weeping people. Yes, there will be people still here in church. Hopefully this can do some new faces coming in and finally saying, oh, they were right, I better come, and start praying and seeking for God and everything. But sad to say, though, there will also be some people who have some old faces that we know who still left in the church, sitting here wondering what I do wrong. I come to church every day, every Sunday. I'm here, I'm faithful here, I serve, I gave some tithe. I did everything I thought I could. But did you really, truly give your heart to God? God knows your heart. There'll be probably, the rise of Antichrist will come, there'll be more lawlessness in the world, plagues of persecution and harm. All kinds of things will start taking place. But how do we know the rapture is going near? Well, Matthew 24 tells us that you don't have to go there. Some will kind of point out the verses though on Matthew 24. Well, in verse 6 we know about that, talks about rumors of wars and different kind of wars. There was never before the last 100 years we have millions gone to the grave through wars. Weapons of mass destruction now exist that could exterminate all life on earth. The nuclear war, can happen. In verses 5 and 11 in Matthew 24, it talks about the false Christ, the false prophets. And there's been over thousands of people claiming that they were Christ. And over 25 million, or even more by now, Americans are part cults. There are people being straight up out there by these people, claiming to be something they're not. Please, Father, if you're in those things, get away from that. It's not real. Christ has not returned yet. As far as I know, he has not returned the second time yet. There will always be earthquakes and disasters. You find that in Matthew 24/7 about how, there's always pestilence and everything, going on. And I've heard that there could be a mass disaster. I don't know if you've heard about this. There could be an eruption in Yellowstone Park. The scientists said they studied the different, how earthquakes are starting to get more. There's some earthquakes in other various places that you never heard before. But I've seen it on on Discovery Channel or something before, that they're saying that one of these days that stuff that's going on in Yellowstone Park with all the volcanic activity, that one day they believe it could rupture, and it could be one of the biggest ruptures of volcanic activity in history. and it can affect over half the world. There's a lot of lives to be lost when that does happen. But they believe it can happen. They don't know when. They know it can happen for all that's going on. There's an increase in wickedness. Matthew 12 talks about that. We all are aware of the time of wickedness that's sweeping across, the civilizations, Western civilizations, and how the entire world is being affected by that. The riots going on, all the murders going on, the 75 million abortions. There's all the sexual vices, the drugs, the gambling. There's the human trafficking. All the things, the wickedness that's out there in this world. Just imagine when Sodom and Gomorrah, when God says enough is enough of them, you allow fire and brimstone to come down and destroy them. If as bad as it seems to be now in this world, and we haven't seen none of the stuff come place yet, then Sodom and Gomorrah must be real bad for him to do what he did to them. So there's things like that happening though. There's the same-sex stuff going on and all kinds of things going on back then. That stuff's happening now. So the rapture's going to be soon. Israel in her homeland again, in Isaiah 11:11, it talks about how it returned a second time. In 1948, Israel came back to the homeland. Luke 21:24, it's reference of that of Jerusalem recovering, and that happened in 1967. And the temple will be rebuilt, and Antichrist will defy it too. 2 Thessalonians 2:4 talks about that these things will happen, right? And I keep remembering, unless I've been dreaming some of the stuff, but I believe I heard that it was said that there's been rumors that they're going to plan on building Jerusalem's temple. Here's shortly. I don't know, I heard about it. I know I've heard before that they talked about that. And there's peace treaties always trying to talk. They always talk about peace treaties. Yeah, they're still having problems now. They're trying to plan on one of the Iran trying to do something against Israel. And even our government, I think, is trying to even support Iran for some different things. But they're pretty much going to start helping them arm up to get ready to try to fight Israel. And we don't need to do that. But those things are starting about to get ready to take place. The rise of a European Union. About to talk about the world order. About trying to get the currency to be in one currency. It's pretty much easy now to just use a card. Debit card, credit card. You hardly ever see the money get used. I know a lot of us still, some of us old folks out, are still like using cash. But it's been getting easier to use a debit card. And it wouldn't matter, as long as you have the right amount of money for going to buy what you need to buy, that could be the start of a one world currency. That's all you have to use, is nothing but cards. Stop producing money. That your currency is going to be on that card. And that's how everyone in this world can start using the currency. The rise of Asia's super army was like over 200 million. In Revelation 9:16 talks about how they will build Himalaya mountains and stuff. And in Revelation 16:12 talks about that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So there's maintenance. Well, actually, in Revelation 9:16 it talks about the super army that's about to take place. Revelation 16:12 is where it talks about how there's going to be a road being built, and they're planning on building that already. There's the way of the king is about to be prepared. Things are taking place as we speak. And some of it we may not know all of it, and some of it we do know. Also, those things that have happened and getting ready, there's other things that are taking place. Even today, there's back in 2015, I believe, it was the worldwide plague was coming. They made all the World Health Organization was warning people how there's going to be a virus. That there's going to be something big. It's going to be a big one. A mutation of an airborne virus occurs that is expected to kill 60 million people or more. But you know, back in the 1600s, that 25 to 50% of the population were wiped out because of the virus. Well, they're saying that there's going to be a big one that's going to do that much or even more. And I wrote down COVID-19. They're saying that there's still more mutations of the COVID still producing. And the way it hit the world, and it was devastating. You know, but I don't trust in what the government tells me. I'm gonna do and live the way that God wants me to, but I'm not gonna, it's just gonna be where I'm trusting God. That if He chooses for me to receive a virus that kills me, I guess that's what's gonna happen. But I know He can protect me too. There's going to be also a falling away. First, in 2 Thessalonians 3 tells us about that. In the later time, some shall depart from the faith. That's in 1 Thessalonians 4:1. Because of the increase in weaknesses, the love of most will grow cold. That's in Matthew 24:12. The number of Americans who attend church will probably drop about 7%, and that 30% by 60% of Americans age of 40 and below have never set foot in the church building. So in the past 8 years, about 20 million have left church. But make sure that you're not one of those statistics. Stay in church. Stay in the fellowship with one another. And finally, the conclusion of this sermon is how precious can 1 hour be? We already talked about the value of an hour. We already talked about all these things. But how precious is it really? Well, according to a newspaper reports, 2 men, William Bell and Jacob Rosenwasser, were under sentence of death at Ossining, New York. Their execution date has been set, but they felt that they would be deprived of an hour of life if they were executed on daylight savings time. So apparently they were getting executed on the day of daylight savings time, where they were losing an hour. So they applied to the warden to have the clocks in the death house return to standard time so they could keep that hour. So how precious even 1 hour may have been under certain circumstances, how much an hour could be for you. They was willing. They took that hour, as something that was go to them. They wanted to just 1 more hour. Can I just have 1 more hour? How about people like the story about Lazarus and the rich man? The rich man, he probably said, I wish I had 1 more hour, and I could maybe be king of Christ now. It's too late. Today's the day. The answer to the way of salvation. That's today's the day you choose that calling coming to you. Excuse me. Some years ago, a headline told that there was 300 whales that suddenly died. The whales were pursuing sardines and found themselves marooned in a shallow bay. Frederick Harris commented that small fish lure the sea giants to their death. They cling to their demise by chasing small ends, by prostituting vast powers for insignificant goals. Don't chase after things that's insignificant. Chase after God. Chase after the things that He has for your life. Make your life here on earth worth living. Make every opportunity like it's the last opportunity you have. Make sure if it's the last opportunity you have to gain Christ in your life, take this time to do it. If this could be the last opportunity to reach out to your loved one, take this time to reach out to them. So are we chasing small dreams? Well, since the time is short, now it's time to make it right with God. Do it now. Because this is again, don't just go one way. You got to do it now. It's a commitment that you need to make with God. No more wasting time. No more playing around. Don't sit there and say, oh, I got another few more years, even though I'm old. No, you may not have a few more seconds. Commit to Him now. In faulty character traits, I'm the one to clear it up now. We need to clear things up now. Again, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And one last scripture that I've written down. James 4:14. It says, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, or what is your life. It is even a vapor that appears for a little time, and then vanishes away. And right before I close this out in prayer, there's this poem that is having laid there that I used as a bookmark. And it says about when you die. It says, when I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother. Walk in the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to give you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of the children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away. So we have a joyous expectation now, because we know now time is short. Time is very short. I don't know if anybody knows them. I know y'all knows. I didn't know if some other ones would go too, kids. But they're going to go, hopefully, celebrate a life that was started off rough, but ended victoriously later. And then talk to them about how life is short. Talk to anyone else that you might have lost a loved one about how life is short. We're not guaranteed anything in this world except for life and death. We're here to live, or we're also here to die. But what we can do in between that time is up to you. So make today the choice to make it right with God. Make the choice to live for God. Seek after His salvation. Seek after His hope. Like the song we sang, last song we sang this morning. He's our living hope. Just as He died, but we're risen, even we will one day be risen. If you're a child of God, if you're seeking His Lord and Savior, do that. Seek Him. Know Him for who He is. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait for another few more years because you think you have it. No. A good friend of ours, I'm not going to mention his name, but the one that went to go see the funeral, he probably would think that today is going to be the last day. Things happen though for how it happened, which I'm not going to say either how it happened. But things happen sometimes. We have faults sometimes. Things happen. But don't know it's going to be our last day. He didn't know it. I guarantee you right now, if you could say, well, if I could make a difference in someone else's life, I wish I could have done something different that day. That way I could have helped someone else down the road, someone else. But I believe he's also a man of God. Yes, man of God may have faults, but He's in heaven. Now we just got to pray that whatever He couldn't accomplish here on earth, for whatever reason He's home now in heaven, that we got to make that choice to make the right decisions to help others. Time is short, y'all. Don't waste it. And that's all I have. I don't know how long it was. Like I said, I ain't gonna watch all the church, so I'm sorry if it was too long. But I love y'all. I love every one of y'all, even though I don't know all of y'all out there in that video land. I love y'all. I love you enough to tell you. Seek God, please. It's high time to awake, guys. It's time to awake and seek after God. Because if you don't, you may not know the opportunity to do so. You die and go to hell. That's the only way it's going to happen if you don't choose Him. Yes, He loves us. He wants us to be there with Him, but He gives us the free will to choose. So make the right choices. Dear Father, I thank you, Lord, for this.